Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's the first video of the year, and we're talking about Bowblax wearing a fucking dress, okay? I mean, this has got to be, like, the worst first of the year video I think we've ever done. I mean, what the hell is even going on here?
Yeah, Bowblax has gone to Twitter and spread just total lies about myself and the commentary community. So
yeah, and it's odd too because he might actually have like something he could legitimately complain about, but he, instead of like doing that, he's put up a post where he just completely throws you under the bus, lies like 4 different times in the tweet. I'm not even sure if he's like even aware of it, right?
Yeah.
Now, in fairness, he has deleted this tweet, but he hasn't issued any sort of statement. And if you guys are completely out of the clue of what's going on, well, basically, this whole situation is some fall off from a New Year's stream that myself, Chud Logic, Nicholas Diorio, and Turkey Tom did. We're on the stream, a bunch of crazy shit happened and was discussed, one of which being this picture from Bowblax. Apparently, Chud Logic accidentally sort of revealed the existence of a picture of Bowblax in a dress that was taken back in July amidst his giant meltdown.
It is public. Not the picture itself, but it's public. There's a picture of him in a dress floating about. Wait, what?
Whoa!
Wait, what?
Wait
huh?
a minute now.
What?
They don't know that.
What?
We never mentioned that.
Wait,
the worst
what?
thing you guys do is when you hear that somebody's going to leak something, you don't play it off as a joke. Instead, you're like, whoa, don't talk about that.
So, just for the timeline of events here, right? Back in July, obviously, Bowblax was being very strange. He had this big fight with Nick, this big blowout fight with Nick that myself, Nick, you were there for it, and Aiden Projects were all there for, right? Where Bowblax started hitting up Nick and was having a freak out because he tweeted something about how non-binary people are valid, and Tom just like left some meme reply. Wasn't even really shitting on Bowblax, but just was like memeing or something. And Bowblax took it really personally, but then when he DM'd Nick about it, the conversation turned into this giant, like, sort of meltdown that he had, where he revealed a lot of, like, true feelings he had about Nick, myself. He felt that we weren't really his good friends anymore, that we kind of stopped talking to him, that he built my community and my YouTube channel, and he was sort of owed some sort of, I guess, praise.
Respect or something.
Yeah, respect or something. He basically just had, like, a full psychotic, schizophrenic breakdown. And it was very obvious that something very strange was going on inside of his mind. And a day later, he had a very similarly crazy meltdown in Alex Gekmo's DMs, who's just like a community follower in this.
Yeah, just a spurg in the community.
Yeah, he has like 1,000 followers. He's just some spurg or whatever, right? Yeah. Bowblax had a full meltdown in that guy's DMs because that guy was also making tweets going after Bowblax, and Bowblax was demanding that guy to remove the tweets, and basically Alex told him to fuck off. And so then Bowblax started doxing his medical info. He was like, "I'm in the loony bin right now. Here's my medical wristband with all my data on it.
Legal name and my everything."
Yeah, it had his full name on it. It had phone numbers on it and stuff like that. So he started like just doxing himself and saying all this crazy shit to Alex. Yeah. And obviously, he then showed this conversation to you.
Yes.
So this was around the time that Bowblax was having like his total mental breakdown. Mm-hmm. And a few days after this Alex conversation took place, you hit up Bowblax. You reached out to him. And you were like, "Hey, man, are you doing better? Are you doing okay?"
Yeah, well, basically at the time, I kind of, had caught wind of this, obviously, through you and Nick, because the meltdown was just insane. And so me and Bowblax were kind of playing games or whatever at the time, just casually, every now and then. So one time I messaged him, I said, "Hey, how are things going? Are you doing all right?" And one of those times I messaged him, he decided to give me a call, and he wanted to update me on things going on in his life. And so basically the call I had was almost one-to-one identical to the meltdown that he had with Nick Diorio. He came out to me as non-binary in this call. He sent me that break the binary Instagram account that he also sent to Nick Diorio. He explained a bunch of stuff about his identity or whatever. But on top of that, he also sent me pictures of himself virtually unprompted, just to show me, I guess, what he looks like when he's dressed up. I don't know.
Yeah,
and
we'll read his explanation of events in a second here and correct it. But yeah, just unprompted, he just starts sending you he starts telling you all about his sexual life or something like that, right? Where it's just, he gives you all these unprompted details. You were basically doing like a mental health check. You were just like, "Hey man, are you feeling better?" He's like, "Here's me an address."
Yeah, he basically.
It's like, whoa, okay, buddy, I did not ask for this.
And just before we read it, we'll read it, of course, to see what he says, but in this call, he gave me explicit permission to share any information, anything he showed to you. He said, I don't really know how to tell Augie these kind of things. Whatever we talked about, whatever you saw, you can show Augie anything. I said, okay. And so I did. I shared it with you. And then he decides to go and make a tweet where he's basically just completely lying about the situation that happened between him and I. So
yeah, and I'll explain my involvement in a second, but he puts out a big statement, and again, this thing's full of lies. He starts off by saying, Connor Real X8 is such a piece of shit, man. Which is like, every time I read this statement, like the first sentence, he's like, Connor is such a piece of shit, man.
Yeah, it's like a DM or something. He's just messaging someone that I'm.
This was tweeted at 1 a.m. last night, and it makes no sense to me. He says, we worked on content together, or we worked on content, talking to each other daily for most of 2024 and became good friends. He started asking about how I was doing. I was very comfortable with him since we talked so much that I felt safe to come out to him as non-binary. Now, this part, I don't necessarily think is that crazy for him to...
Kind of, except when you forget the fact he like told like tons of people behind the scenes apparently,
right?
And also he was sharing a lot of
and not in the context of a mental breakdown. If he just said that, it's like, okay, well, everyone on Twitter is non-binary. This would not be that. And Bowblax has had many tweets of talking about stuff like this before, so it kind of just be like, okay.
Well, he'd tell like random community spurgs that he was non-binary too. Wasn't he like messaging community spurgs, hey, I'm non-binary,
right?
Like
yeah,
that.
just random people in our audience, random people in the chat. He was just reviewing this information to them.
Yeah, so it wasn't like super personal. Like I'm super safe. So I didn't even notice that before, but that also is kind of a lie where he's trying to present this as like
you were the only person he felt comfortable with, and you betrayed him.
Yeah, that's not true.
Yeah,
completely. So continuing on,
he says, I then showed him an image of me in a dress with one of my IRL queer friends to let him know people IRL accepted me and to give him an idea of my gender. Why the fuck would you need to do that?
Yeah,
like, come on now, to give you an idea of my gender.
Yeah.
Like what? And a picture of him in a dress. I mean, call me crazy. I feel like that's totally nuts. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that sending an image like that to you unprompted when you're not even really asking about that stuff is just kind of like, whoa. Like, slow down, man. Like, I did not sign up to view this today.
Well,
like,
he definitely went very, very fast. And again, I mean, I didn't really care that much that he told me this at the time, but in context of everything else that I knew, like with his whole meltdown and his freak out on Nick and everything else I knew, it was definitely a lot more concerning.
His spurking about Alex Gekmo.
And another thing that happened here, which he doesn't mention in this tweet, is that he also sent me a second part, which was, there's like the image of him in the dress. He also sent me another part where it was like him in a dress, and then he edited him in a dress next to a picture of him in a dress next to Keemstar, and he was like, dude, this would be so funny if this is public, like a guy in a dress owned Keemstar, like isn't that so funny? Because he was on
wasn't he like fantasizing about like making out with him and be like, it would be so funny if me and Keemstar fucked and I owned him.
Okay, I don't know if it went that far, but he did definitely
he said something along those lines.
It definitely seemed like there was some sort of like some sort of like humiliation interest in the fact that if it was public that he was owning Keemstar while wearing a dress, that would be really funny.
Yeah, which is such a weird comment. And again, he's like almost getting into his fetishes with you unprompted.
Yeah, it's like
that's unhinged.
Yeah,
okay.
It was just too much. And again, like I said, out of context, whatever, but explicitly, again, as I said earlier, after he told me all this, he gave me permission to share it. So we'll continue reading this statement and we'll get into all of it. But then he says,
I deleted it after he replied for safety reasons, but last night the existence of this leaked, and apparently Connor has shown a bunch of my ex-friends the image, despite me deleting it quickly, and him knowing I didn't want anyone else to know about the image.
Yeah, so obviously, complete lie. At the time during the call, he told me explicitly, as I said earlier, that I had permission to show and tell you anything that he talked about. And it is partially true that he did delete the images from the DMs. He actually did remove them. But the way that happened is not as he's saying. He didn't say he deleted it for his safety. He sent them to me pretty much unprompted. I was kind of shocked. I don't really recall saying much about it at the time. We talked a little bit more.
What are you supposed to say?
He was also just rambling, saying a lot. And then towards the end of the call, he gave me explicit permission to share it, and then he decided to delete it because we were still kind of talking about Twitter versus things and work things.
You were his editor at the time, so
yeah.
you guys were mainly talking about content.
Yeah. I was like, yeah. So we were still talking about Twitter versus things, and the message immediately following that call actually is related to Twitter versus. And so he said like something along the lines that he didn't want it to be too distracting or too much in our DMs, so he just removed it from our DMs, but he still gave me explicit permission to show or to show it to you explicitly. So that's what I did.
Right. And here's the thing, right? I only showed it to 2 people. I feel like a lot of people have the impression that I just spammed this picture to everybody in the community.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I was out of the community at the time. Like, I was off the internet, right? This was it back in July, okay? The only people I showed it to were the 2 people that were there for Bowblax's mental breakdown with Nick, which was Nick himself and Aiden Projects, who was in call with Bowblax the entire time that conversation was taking place. So I shared it to them in context because they were both there for the mental breakdown. Both of them were concerned about Bowblax. I had just seen this picture. I was like, holy shit. I just saw a picture of Bowblax in a dress that he's sending to you amidst all this other craziness, right? Now you got this fucking thing on top of it. I mean, did I laugh? Obviously.
It's shocking.
It's a fucking picture of Bowblax in a dress.
Yeah,
How do you not
of course.
laugh at that? That's hilarious, right? But it's also deeply concerning at the same time. I kind of was like, I recall like having a mix of emotions. I was like disgusted. I was laughing, but then I was like, what the hell's going on? Concerned? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Which
so
is
I sent it.
probably the point of Bowblax sending that too, is a little bit of that, because after he sent it to me, I definitely was having the same kind of reaction. And it was just like, okay.
All right. I saw it. I was just like, bro, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Why did this have to be something that I've seen? You know what I mean? And I sent it to Nick and Aiden, and were laughs had? I mean, no fucking shit, right? But it wasn't like sending it to him because we're like, oh, let's prepare our big Bowblax stream now. Burn him now, or
how
whatever.
he framed it, where it was after the whole Bowblax stream. We're like, actually, something really funny that we have
Oh,
this whole
yeah.
time?
In his statement, he says Connor then showed it to a bunch of his ex-friends. We weren't his ex-friends at
You
the time.
guys were his friends. And another thing he does too is he says, I deleted it after he replied for safety reasons. He's also implying that this happened in a text conversation we were calling. So he doesn't even remember like any
I don't
details
think
of
he
this
even
context.
remembers, if I'm giving him full credit, I don't even think he remembers giving you permission to show that picture to me.
Probably not, because like you said, I deleted after he replied as if I sent some sort of message. No, this was like a hour-long call that we had about everything, including like at the same time, one thing that drama was in at the time was the Mr. Beast Lava GS stuff, where he leaked a bunch of shit and all of his friends were feeling like really kind of like the lyrics talked about in his videos. His friends were like, oh, whoa, why is he leaking a bunch of shit about Mr. Beast and Lava GS? This is like the same, we talked about that in that same call.
Yeah, the irony of Bowblax crying about anything getting leaked after leaking the lyrics call, after leaking a bunch of stuff from Lava GS, which is a situation, admittedly, I don't really know anything about.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently he did
He
that.
like secretly recorded Lava GS calling Mr. Beast on the phone and showed that around. One of the people he showed was me, along with other people.
Yeah.
And Lava GS ended up hearing about that and was like, what the fuck? So yeah, this was the exact same call that he was telling me about the Lava GS stuff. He also showed me this and then gave me permission to show it to you. So he doesn't even remember the specific details of the conversation. He's lying about the timeline that happened as if it was ex-friends. It just doesn't.
As if you held on to this picture for months and then showed it after we had burned the Bowblax Bridge.
to like
No.
dozens of people.
Yeah, that's not true. But I showed it to Aiden and Nick, who are actively engaged, people who engage in this community. And they were relevant people to show it to. And obviously, I guess they just talked about it to a bunch of people, right? Which, I mean, I guess is unnecessary for them to talk about it to other people because, I mean, why do they need to do that? But at the same time, I hardly feel sympathy for Bowblax because it's like, dude, first of all, sending this picture in the first place is crazy. You know what I mean? Sending it to Connor like that is nuts. Having this fucking big mental breakdown, lying about people, recording the fucking lyrics called, leaking a bunch of Lava GS shit. I mean, how the fuck could I feel bad about this for too long? It's like, dude, take some accountability, take some fucking responsibility, dude.
And on top of it too, it's like he would have shown this to basically anyone behind the scenes that asked. He already had given me permission to share it to someone else, right, which was you, and he was offering this and more to Nick DiOrio. Which
He
Nick
was
just
telling
didn't say
random
yes.
community spurgs he was non-binary in their
Exactly.
DMs. First DM.
Exactly. So it's not like this was some sort of really secret thing like he keeps trying to portray it as, where, it was just like one or two friends he told this. There's no other context around it. And we were just the biggest assholes of all time to him. It's like, that's just not true. That's just completely just not true. He's like rebuilt this timeline of this framing, I think, to maliciously try to attack us. And I mean, thank God he deleted this tweet after I correctly called him out, but I don't know.
It's just so stupid, man. It's like, this is a situation where it's like, yeah, maybe he could have like a legitimate complaint about people just talking about his like,
Or like knowing of it.
business or whatever.
Scenes, yeah.
But the way that he words it, he almost like smears you. He does like a smear attack on you as if you're some guy that just outs, gay people or something
Yeah,
like that, right?
Which not
is
at all what I
not,
did.
yeah, it's not the context just completely destroys that narrative, every possible bit of it. I mean, I guess if there's anybody you should be mad at, I guess it should be me because maybe, but even still, it's like
He
dude.
offered it to Nick. He already offered the same picture you showed to Nick. And then Aiden, I wouldn't be surprised.
Aiden's somebody
if he
he's
did.
confided to about a ton of shit.
Well, Aiden was there during the whole conversation.
Yeah.
He was guiding Bowblax to apologize to Nick behind the scenes. So Aiden was there along the whole way, the whole ride. So both of the people you showed were directly relevant and probably people he also would have showed and told everything to.
Yeah.
I just got it because I think I was the only person who called Bowblax on voice during this time. A lot of people were just texting him, checking up on him or whatever. I directly called him and I was hanging out with him kind of as a friend. So at that moment, I was the first person to just get it sent to me just as quickly as possible in a voice context. But again, him to act like that this would not have been something that he showed all the people who knew about it and to frame me as just some sort of crazy asshole, it's just bullshit. It's malicious. It's completely malicious bullshit.
No, this was completely malicious. And he ends the statement off. He said he had to have screenshotted it instantly and lied to my face for weeks as he continued to pretend to be my friend. So this last part is just total fantasy.
Well, yeah, no wonder I actually did screenshot it because you told me to share it with someone. You
The
told me I
fuck
had
were you supposed to
permission
do?
share it with
Yeah.
someone. So I did. I think I was out of town at the time, so I didn't show you it in person directly. I sent it to you. I mean, yeah, no shit I did, but it's not me pretending to be your friend for weeks. You asked me to do it, so
Yeah.
I did what you asked me to do.
Well, he acts like he also puts like so much importance on like the fact that, these are my friends, whatever, right? Bowblax, this is something I mentioned in the comments too.
Yeah.
A lot of people, in my recent Bowblax coverage, have almost been like very upset with me for talking so ill of my former friends. They think that because we were friends that I owe a much more immense amount of charity towards him than I've been giving him, right? And it's like, okay, if Bowblax since like very much valued my friendship with him, don't you think he would have been reaching out to me like post drama? Like I never really cut even after hours, like I never really cut him off.
Yeah.
I did talk about his public actions like I would any other person, right? Just because you're my friend doesn't mean you get special privileges. Or, I mean, I have probably extended special privileges to friends of mine in the past.
Of course, yeah,
but I don't really want to do that anymore.
When you criticize them, that all of a sudden now you're an asshole, right? It's like you can criticize someone who's your friend. You can call them out, especially
obviously
when they lie to you, right? That's another.
Yeah,
thing
he
too.
lied to me a bunch of times. So it's like if he valued my friendship, wouldn't he be trying everything he could to make amends, apologize for the lies, really take an effort to start telling the truth a little bit more? It feels like he just, as soon as like I started talking about the shit that he was doing publicly, then he like, first of all, he blocked me in after hours. He started freaking out and stuff like that. And then he unblocked me a little bit and then blocked me again afterwards when he made this like phony apology and I called him out for that. It's like, okay, well, do you really care that much? Right? So it's like, I see a lot of people in the comments that are like, you should be way more nicer to Bowblax because he was your friend or whatever, right? It's like, bullshit. He should be honest to me.
Actually, he should have been nicer to you.
He should be more honest to me if he cares. Like, I mean, and I even saying that just sounds gay. Like,
it's like
if he cares about me, it's like.
But the truth is if we're having a conversation about caring, then we have to go to that level.
It's got to go both ways.
Yeah, of course.
And
realistically, it doesn't matter that much. But if we're gonna go to that level, we have to care about this. Then let's talk about Bowblax's actions of him lying and being just a insane, delusional, fucking bad friend in multiple different avenues.
He's getting eaten alive right now on Twitter. Mr. Medicare is tweeting about it. He's like, I just don't understand it. I show my friends a picture of me in a dress with cum slut written ruby red lipstick across my forehead, and he started laughing and showed it to other people. Which is not true. He did not
happen. That is not how it happened. But it is funny, but that's not how it happened.
Oh my God, dude. I mean, yeah.
Well, it also doesn't say that. That's not what it
Well, that's the part I was saying is not true. I mean, look, again, I did laugh. Okay. How do you not? Come on, dude. How do you not? You just be honest here, okay?
It's a very shocking picture to get. Very shocking picture to get.
And then Josh Moon, the owner of Kiwi Farms, says, I warned you, Bowblax. And Josh Moon, I guess, and Bowblax had like a big, they had like a beef or whatever on Twitter where Bowblax made this very ill-informed tweet at Josh Moon, who's again the owner of Kiwi Farms, by the way.
Yeah.
He said, why are you disgusted that I don't hate all trans people, Lamau? You're weird as fuck, man. Which is like the soyest tweet of all time. You can tweet at Josh Moon.
Owner of Kiwi Farms, by the way.
Josh Moon is not going to read a tweet like that and be like, oh shit.
Yeah, I need to change my ways or something. You know,
No.
it's like, what the fuck are you thinking? You're just humiliating yourself. And also, you add yourself to Josh's Moon's like personal like all-time hit list. He literally returned to Twitter today. The first tweet he made besides announcing that he's back was fucking attacking Bowblax.
His suspension appeal, and then right after that, immediately he's like,
Goes
"Yeah,
to Bowblax.
Bowblax, you're cooked."
So
you're
he was
done.
on the hit list for all time. There's no point in doing that.
Yeah, Bowblax, he just can't stop lying.
No,
you
it's
know,
a terrible tweet, bad lies. It's the second time he's done this now.
and it's like even in a situation where he could actually garner some sympathy for himself, he can't help it but just completely twist the narrative and lie about it, attacking you, like disingenuously and smearing you.
Yeah.
You know, because right now, obviously nobody's really on his side, but if this gets picked up by like other, communities or whatever, like, I don't know, fucking H3 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And the whole narrative now is that the commentary community is a bunch of like evil people that will out you or something like that. You know what I mean? It's shit that I personally don't care about, right? I don't really give a fuck about this community,
this weird,
this framing, exactly. But that's just me or whatever, right? I'm sure Nick doesn't want to be labeled as that.
Yeah,
you don't want to be labeled as
it's
that.
A lie. I mean, if it was
it's
true,
a lie.
If it was true, I'd say, well, sure. But what he said is a lie. I'm not going to be, he's trying to twist this narrative and garner sympathy for himself, probably to sell his failing plushies by lying about
44 sold, by the way.
By lying about the nature of our interactions. So typical Bowblax at this point.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, all he has to do is shut up, read the tweets, stop lying, stop being weird as fuck, okay?
Yeah.
Maybe take off the dress, okay? I'll personally fucking add that one in there. That's me. That's coming from me personally, RFC, AugieRFC. If anyone wants to attack this fucking community for being a phobic or whatever, sure, fucking throw that shit my way. But it's like, dude, like, first things first, just stop fucking lying, stop just completely shitting the bed, and just tell the fucking truth for once, or better yet, shut the fuck up and just make some content or whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody will buy your plushie or something. I don't know. Whatever gets you fulfillment, man. Well, besides
Okay.
not sexually. Anyway.